Welcome to Hawk Talk, where we discuss relevant news and information for Harper College students. I'm Erin Graff.
And I'm Melanie Duhai, and today we are joined by staff from the Harper College Library to discuss their recommendations for Read Across America Day and beyond. Welcome, everyone. Would you please introduce yourselves?
I'm Christine. I am one of the librarians at the library and coordinator of user services.
My name's Melissa Merlos. I'm the circulation manager and an adjunct librarian.
I'm Victoria Turner, and I am a copy cataloger in the Technical Services Department of the library.
I'm Kayla Istavanik, and I'm a library assistant in the Interlibrary Loan Department.
Well, thank you all for joining us today. So we're going to jump right in. Read Across America Day was created by the National Education Association, or the NEA, in 1998 to encourage students to read. Today, the library staff is going to share two of their favorite books, one related to the NEA's February theme of practicing empathy, and then one of their personal recommendations for Harper students. So let's go ahead and kick it off. Victoria, do you want to start us off?
Sure. So to start, I'll tell you about my favorite book. It is The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Pardon my bad French, but while The Little Prince is a children's book, it does cover universal themes such as love and loss that all readers can relate to. It was originally published in 1943, and it is the second most translated book of all time. The story is narrated by a nameless airplane pilot who, while flying on a solo mission, has to make an emergency landing in the Sahara Desert. While he's trying to fix his plane, the pilot encounters a small child that he calls the Little Prince. And the Little Prince starts telling the pilot about his travels throughout the solar system and all of these encounters that he has with humans, as well as plants and animals personified, so meaning that they can talk. And throughout the story, we see examples of Little Prince caring for others and seeing the best in all of the flawed characters that he meets. The reason this book represents empathy to me so much comes from this line from the fox who asks the Little Prince to tame him. And the fox says, "It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye." And to me, I think that this means that if we see with our hearts and use empathy and try to understand how others feel, rather than focusing on what it is we can visually see, we can better connect to and understand one another. So that is my empathy recommendation. And my other recommendation is the Star Wars graphic novel series. This takes place in between the original Star Wars movie and The Empire Strikes Back. So it follows the adventures of Luke, Leia, and Han Solo, all before they know the relationship between Luke, Leia, and Darth Vader. There's a lot of humor in it. There's a lot of building up on worlds and stories within this time period of Star Wars. So people who really liked Luke, Leia, and Han will really enjoy this series. And for those of you who are Star Wars nerds and always wanted to see what a Nerf herder looks like, you'll get to see that.
I love that. Thank you so much, Victoria.
You're welcome.
Melissa, you want to share your two recommendations with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So my first book recommendation for empathy was Pachinko. This is by Min Jin Lee. And this is a historical fiction novel that follows 4 generations of a Korean family. It starts in the late 1800s and takes us through the 20th century. But this is about a family that moves to Japan during a time of Japanese colonization and a lot of political warfare. And the story begins with a character named Huni, who's born with a cleft palate and twisted foot. And he's the only child of his parents that survived. And when he's 15, he enters into an arranged marriage with a woman named Yang Jin. And they have a daughter named Sunja, who's the main character in the story. And at a young age, she becomes pregnant by a Yakuza when she is unmarried. And this is going to just be damaging to her reputation. And there's a family friend who is a pastor who offers to marry her and bring her to Japan to kind of begin their life and restart together. This book is not a quick read, but it's really, really compelling. You become really attached to the characters. And personally, I didn't know a lot about Korean history and the relationship with Japan, so it was really eye-opening to me. It covers a lot of complex relationships within the family and their struggles with identity, financial success, and faith. It's a great read for empathy because it provides a hard truth that these immigrants face, and as well as a lot of issues that immigrants face today and how that trauma can be passed down through generations. There are a lot of other issues that it covers too, like the racism that the family faced, and being refused citizenship while also not being able to return to their home, poverty and being forced to take low-paying jobs and work in a rough area. And then a lot of gender roles too, and challenges that men and women faced while women weren't supposed to work, but they really needed to work to support their family. So I loved it. It's a super compelling read, and it has a lot of themes that are very relevant to our present day. So highly recommend that. And then for my other pick, I did The Last Kingdom by Bernard Cornwell. I only have it on my Kindle, so I don't have it to show you. But I absolutely love that series. It's the first novel in a series of 13 books. So the whole series is actually called The Saxon Stories. And it is a historical fiction series that takes place in the 9th century, what we now know as England. But at that time, it was divided into 4 separate areas. And the book follows the story of Uhtred of Beppenberg. And he's a Christian Saxon child who became the heir of Beppenberg after his older brother died. When he was 11, the Danish Vikings attacked their land, killing his father and capturing Uhtred. He was then raised by Jarl Ragnar of the Danes, and his uncle becomes a traitor and kind of usurps the land from him. And then Ragnar, he did capture Uhtred, but he ends up kind of seeing him as a son, and Uhtred becomes really attached and loves Ragnar as his family. So he becomes a Dane, and when the Danes begin their attack on Wessex, he already really strongly identifies as a pagan Dane himself. But when the battle starts to quickly turn in favor of King Alfred, his loyalty is really tested. But throughout the book, he really just wants to reclaim the land that was his birthright, but there are a lot of obstacles that stand in his path. So the book deals a lot with Uhtred's conflicting feelings of his loyalty and his true identity. Because he was born a Saxon but raised a Dane. He makes promises to a Saxon king, yet has deep ties with his families of Danes. So it's really good. It is a quick read, and it's filled with action. The characters are all really well written and very believable. The character of Uhtred is fictional, but there are several real historical figures throughout these books, which makes it really interesting. And the series has also been partially adapted into a TV series, which also I think is really well done.
Wonderful. Thank you, Melissa. Kayla, do you want to share your recommendations?
Sure. So my recommendation in relation to empathy is A Silent Voice. This is a 7-volume manga series by Yoshitoki Oima. It's also been adapted into a movie as well. So if you don't have time to read the series, you can pick that up. And it basically follows the main character, which is a young man named Shoya, who believes his purpose in life is to win little victories in the war against boredom. He does this by doing daredevil stunts with his friends, such as jumping off bridges and beating up kids twice his size. But one day his friends are like, look, we got to stop all this childish nonsense and just move on with our lives because they will be graduating middle school soon. This kind of throws Shoya for a loop because he doesn't know what he's going to do to fight boredom now. Well, one day, a young deaf girl enters their classroom and becomes the new student. and also Shoya's new target. He begins to bully her because of her deafness, constantly shouting at her to test her hearing. He also makes fun of her voice when she starts to read aloud during class, and he even steals her notebook that she uses to write in and communicate with her classmates. So the whole series kind of follows Shoya and the new girl, and how they start to navigate the relationship between bully and victim, and just how they eventually learn to try and understand each other, or maybe the lack of that. So that's a good one for empathy. And then my favorite book pick is another manga series. This one's 4 volumes called Skullface Bookseller Honda-san, and it just says it's written by Honda. So the author may have actual experience behind his method in writing this. And this book follows the main character, Honda-san, and his adventures as he navigates running a bookstore in Japan. And it's a really fun, light read. It basically, you learn the inner workings of the bookstore, everything from ordering books, odd customer requests, and of course, the hilarious interactions with various manga and other book fans that come along throughout your day in any typical bookstore.
Fantastic, thank you. And to close this out, Christine.
All right, so my first book that I'm choosing to support empathy is called The Girls Who Went Away, The Hidden History of Women Who Surrendered Children for Adoption in the Decades Before Roe versus Wade. The comment from the Chicago Tribune on the top really says it all, a wrenching, riveting book, and it really is. So the author, by the way, it's Ann Fessler is the author, and she interviewed more than 100 women who were forced to give up their babies for adoption due to family and societal pressures, mostly during the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And it's just heartbreaking and astonishing. I can't say enough about this book. I think hearing women's stories in their own words, and that's a lot of what this book is, really helps you understand the feelings those women were going through. So those words that they're sharing were not edited by someone. They were not created by someone else who had some vision for a great book. They're raw, they're real. And I did shed tears throughout this book on occasion. I can't say enough about it. I read it years ago. It's a keeper. I will read it again. And it is absolutely appalling and shocking what many of these women faced. And all I can say is that you need to read it to hear some of those little details and stories. So that's my empathy book. And then my other pick this is actually a series. And the first one in the series is Mr. Churchill's Secretary. This is a part of the Maggie Hope mystery series. And the second one is Princess Elizabeth's Spy. I share this because this is a series that you would want to read in order. So Maggie Hope, it works for British intelligence during World War II when it started in Europe. And she's a math genius. She's witty. She's highly intelligent. She's clever, but she's still a relatable, personable character. And when it comes to the actual writing of these books, they're incredibly well researched. There is a diverse cast of characters. There's a solid mystery in each of the stories. And then there's, these great personal backstories that follow through the series as well. So those are by Susan Elliott McNeil. And I think there's about maybe 8 in the series right now. So this is number 2 and I'm finished with it. And I'm moving on to number 3 this weekend.
I think some of these sound really interesting and I love to read. So I love when you all join us with your recommendations. While we're in this remote setting, can you explain what resources are currently available to students through the library and how they can go about checking out some of the books you've recommended today?
Yeah, absolutely. So through this semester, we are currently offering curbside services at our library. So we will share a link with you on our library website that gives you the full information on curbside services. So we do have access to all of our collections. So all these books, graphic novels. We do ask that we just placed a hold on the items too before coming to campus. So on our website, there is a guide on how to place a hold in your library account. But if you do have any trouble with that, we have a live chat. You can always chat with us there and we can put that on hold for you. And then we do send you an email as soon as your book is ready for pickup.
And I just want to remind people to always use your public library as well. So if there are books that we don't have access to in a timely enough fashion, you can always check out your public library. A lot of the libraries in the area are doing similar curbside pickup, or some of them are open with remote, shorter hours or smaller quantities of folks in the library. But check your public libraries too.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And we appreciate you guys joining us for Read Across America Day.